Have you ever sat in a quiet room and thought, what if I make the wrong choice? Maybe you've been told a nursing home is the safest option, or perhaps you're considering it for a loved one. Friends, I'm here to talk to you not as an expert, but as someone who's lived it. At 82, I moved into a nursing home thinking it was the right decision. But what I learned there changed everything. Today, I want to share what I wish someone had told me before I walked through those doors. Not to scare you, but to give you the clarity I didn't have. Because once you understand these realities, you can make choices that protect what matters most: your independence, your dignity, and your joy. Let's start with the first lesson, the one that hit me hardest: losing my independence. You know, I didn't realize how much I valued the little things until they were gone. At home, I decided when to wake up, what to eat, when to sit in the sun with a cup of tea. But in the nursing home, my life ran on someone else's clock. Breakfast at 7:30 a.m. sharp, even if I wasn't hungry. Lights out at 9 p.m., whether I was tired or not. Want to take a walk? Better wait for an aide to be available. Let me tell you about Joe. He was 79, sharp as a tack, and used to tend a rose garden every morning. When he moved in, they told him, "Don't worry, we'll take care of everything." But within weeks, Joe stopped gardening, stopped deciding, stopped living. He became a passenger in his own life. And that's the danger, friends. When you surrender control, you surrender a piece of yourself. You start thinking, why bother? Because the system isn't built for your rhythm. It's built for efficiency. So before you consider a nursing home, ask yourself, am I ready to trade my freedom for convenience? Because once it's gone, reclaiming it is like trying to catch smoke. Feeling forgotten. Now, I know your family loves you. Mine did too. They promised to visit often, and in the beginning they did. But life gets busy. Grandkids have soccer games. Work deadlines pile up. And slowly the visits become calls. The calls become texts. And one day you're sitting in a common room, staring at the door, wondering if anyone remembers you're there. I'll never forget Martha, a sweet woman down the hall. Her daughter visited every Sunday until she didn't. Martha would say she's just busy, but I saw her eyes linger on that door. It's not that families stop caring, it's that out of sight becomes out of mind. And in a nursing home, you're surrounded by people, yet lonelier than ever. If you're thinking, my family would never do that, I thought the same. But here's the truth. Love doesn't fade, life does. And when you're not part of their daily world anymore, it's easy for them to assume you're fine. But fine isn't living. Fine is surviving, losing my sense of purpose. At home, I had my routines, watering plants, folding laundry, even arguing with my stubborn coffee maker. Those little tasks gave me a reason to get up. But in the nursing home, everything was done for me. No cooking, no cleaning, no chores. Sounds nice, right? Until it isn't. I met a man named Carl who'd been a teacher for 40 years. In the nursing home, he had nothing to teach, no one to mentor. He'd sit by the window repeating, "I used to matter." And that's when it hit me. Purpose isn't just what we do, it's who we are. Without it, we wither. So if you're considering a nursing home, ask, will I still have a reason to wake up? Because once the rituals that define you vanish, it's not just your schedule that empties, it's your soul. Now, I'm not saying nursing homes are all bad. For some, they're a necessity. But what I am saying is this: before you make that choice, weigh what you'll gain against what you'll lose. And if there's any way to stay in your own home, with help, with modifications, with family support, fight for it. Fight like your independence depends on it, because it does. In our next conversation, we'll talk about the physical toll, the privacy you'll surrender, and the trap of thinking, I can always leave. But until then, I'll leave you with this. Your life is yours. Don't hand over the reins until you've exhausted every other path. You know, when I first moved into the nursing home, I told myself, at least I won't have to worry about keeping up the house anymore. No more mopping floors, no more meal prep, no more aching knees from climbing stairs. But what I didn't realize was how quickly ease could turn into decline. Today, I want to share two more realities I wish I'd understood. Realities that aren't just about comfort, but about holding on to the very things that keep us alive, declining health faster than expected. Let me tell you about my friend Helen. At 78, she was a force of nature, gardening, walking her dog, even volunteering at the library. But after a fall, her family insisted she move to a nursing home for safety. Within months, Helen's spark faded. Meals were brought to her bed. Walks became wheelchair rides. "Why bother moving?" she'd say. "Someone else does everything for me anyway." And that's the trap, friends. When you stop using your body, you start losing it. Muscles weaken, balance slips, even your mind slows down. I saw it in myself too. At home, I'd stretch to reach the top shelf or bend to tie my shoes. But in the nursing home, my world shrank to a bed, a chair, and a hallway. The less I did, the less I could do. If you're considering a nursing home, ask yourself, will I still challenge my body? Because safety shouldn't mean stagnation. Even small movements, lifting soup cans as weights, standing to fold laundry, keep you strong. Fight for that. Fight like your independence depends on it. Because it does. Loss of privacy and dignity. Now, I'm not a modest person, but there's something about needing help with, well, private things that chips away at your dignity. At home, I could shut the bathroom door, take a long bath, wear mismatched pajamas without an audience. But in the nursing home, privacy vanishes. I'll never forget the first time a nurse walked in without knocking while I was changing. Or the day I overheard two aides laughing about another resident's accident. We weren't people anymore. We were tasks on a checklist. And shared rooms? Imagine having a stranger watch you sleep, cry, or struggle. You might think, I'll get used to it. But getting used to it means accepting that your body isn't truly yours anymore. That's a heavy price to pay for care. So if you're weighing this decision, ask, am I ready to trade my dignity for convenience? Because once it's gone, you can't buy it back. Now, I know what you're thinking, but what if I have no other choice? Maybe you're facing health struggles or living alone feels too risky. I get it, but even then, fight for compromises. Hire in-home help for a few hours a day. Modify your house with grab bars or a stair lift. Keep your routines, your space, your autonomy for as long as you possibly can. And if you're still unsure, stay with me. In our final conversation, we'll talk about the one reality that shocked me most. The truth about leaving a nursing home once you're in. Because sometimes the door you walk through isn't just a new chapter, it's a locked gate. Until then, here's my challenge to you. Do one thing today that keeps you strong. Stand while you brush your teeth. Walk to the mailbox instead of driving. Hold on to your strength. It's the greatest gift you can give your future self. And remember, your choices today write the story of your tomorrow. There's a moment I'll never forget. 6 months after moving into the nursing home, I stood at the front desk and said, "I'd like to go home." The nurse smiled kindly and said, "Let's talk about that later." But later never came. Friends, the final reality I want to share isn't just about loss. It's about the door that closes softly behind you, often without you even noticing. Let's talk about what happens when you realize leaving isn't an option. Realizing it's harder to leave than you think. When I moved in, I told myself it was temporary, a trial run. But here's the truth. Nursing homes aren't designed for temporary stays. The longer you're there, the harder it becomes to leave. Your family adjusts, your home gathers dust, and your body, it forgets how to live outside. Take my neighbor Ed. He moved in after a knee surgery, insisting he'd return home in a month. But his family rented out his house to cover costs. His muscles weakened from weeks in bed. By the time he was ready to leave, there was nowhere to go. Ed's story isn't unique. I watched so many people cling to the hope of going home, only to realize they'd become institutionalized, dependent on a system that's hard to escape. And it's not just physical. Emotionally, you start doubting yourself. Can I really cook alone? What if I fall? Fear becomes a cage. So before you sign those papers, ask, am I prepared for this to be permanent? Because trying it out often becomes staying forever. Now let me be clear, nursing homes aren't evil. For some, they're a lifeline. But what I've learned, and what I want you to know, is that this decision shouldn't be made lightly. It's not just about safety or convenience. It's about trading your entire way of life for a smaller, quieter version of yourself. So if you're considering this path, fight first. Fight to stay in your home with modifications, grab bars, meal deliveries, a part-time caregiver. Fight to lean on family, friends, or community programs. Fight to keep doing the things that make you you, even if it's harder. Because once you give up that fight, getting it back is nearly impossible. Looking back, I don't regret growing older. I regret believing I had no other choice. Your home isn't just walls and furniture. It's your independence, your memories, your life. So hold on to it, fight for it, and if you must leave, go in with eyes wide open. To those of you watching, if this resonated, share your story below. Have you faced this decision? What would you tell others? Your words might light the way for someone feeling lost. And if you found this helpful, pass it on. Share it with a friend, a sibling, a neighbor. Let's rewrite the story of aging, one where we don't surrender but adapt. Thank you for letting me share my journey with you. Keep your keys close, your spirit closer, and remember, no matter your age, you deserve to live life on your terms. If this resonated with you, hit like and share this with someone who needs to hear it. Don't forget to subscribe and tap the bell so you never miss our next video. Until then, keep cherishing every moment. If this resonated with you, hit like and share this with someone who needs to hear it. Don't forget to subscribe and tap the bell so you never miss our next video. Until then, keep cherishing every moment.